All right, what's up, guys? This is Listen Up Long Island, podcast episode 3. We're here with our homies, Bunktown Falls. How you guys doing tonight?
Doing good. Doing great.
We just had the honor of hearing you guys jam out. You're obviously in the funky, groovy type of music, and you bring the show as far as putting people in some sort of trance, I would say, or some sort of vibe. So why don't you go ahead, you could talk a little bit about your music, what you consider your genre, what type of vibe you want to bring to people when you have your shows.
Yeah, it's always really hard to define a genre when you're an original band. Because we kind of jump back and forth. Like one of the songs we played here was Challenger, which is like a kind of more heavy punk song, which we like to incorporate into our music, but this one was straight from the first to the end punk. And if that's the only song you heard about us, you would think we were a punk band. But we play with a lot of reggae influence, ska. We have a song that's going to be like front to back ska coming out too.
I think at the end of the day, we don't like to shoot down the same lane twice, you know. Trying to think of like what we would call ourselves. We came up with a term called Gonzo Beach Rock. Ah. Yeah, right.
I can see that.
Took a little Hunter Thompson reference in there. You know, the whole idea of Gonzo is always that you take this true story and just kind of like really expand upon it. You don't lie, you don't make shit up. You just kind of just expand on top of that and really tell it in a way that like is a little grandiose. And that's just kind of always been like the direction for Bunktown Falls is like
over the top.
We want to be a little bit more, a little bit extra, a little bit beyond that, and just be something unique. Be something you've never heard of before. Just want people to hear our music and go, "Oh, that's Bunktown Falls." It's duh. Like,
one of my favorite things is when other people like try to describe our genre to other people, and it's just like, it's hysterical to me because it's always like not how I would say it, but acceptable.
I've started fights over that. Like, people have started fights in a conversation.
My apologies. What's the most ridiculous answer you've gotten to that from like a fan or someone that listens to your music? Like if you had to remember one.
I don't know. The most common one we get is they're a reggae band, and then a lot of people show up and expect to hear like, no woman, no cry, and we're just not doing that. Like, we're punching you in the face with reggae, if anything.
Hence the punk rock.
Peaceful, loving
spiked
way.
reggae, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
So with the Gonzo Beach music, does that mean we can expect a surf rock album?
There's surf rock music in the work for sure. We've got at least like 2 songs that I would call surf rock songs we're kicking around in the studio right now.
Definitely heavily surf rock influence.
Yeah, whether you'll hear them or not is like a different story, but there's at least one that I think we like enough that you'll probably hear it soon.
Technically, Challenger's brand new. We haven't released that yet. We played a song for you guys that nobody else can hear unless they tune in to Listen Up.
Yeah, you hear that, guys? That's a Listen Up Long Island.
Or subscribe and follow Bunktown Falls on Spotify, Instagram, Facebook, and all of the social media. Then you can catch it there too. Do it now. Do it now.
Apparently
Click the link.
Click the link. If you play our music on Peloton, found that out.
Peloton.
They don't give you what?
If we can get on there, man. Apparently, there's like
Nice payout on there.
Bunktown Falls Peloton workout coming up just for you right after this. No, I'm just kidding.
Bunktown wants to tone your glutes.
Yes.
So are we doing that with like squats, leg press?
Peloton, baby.
Get on that bike.
So you're heavily influenced, I would say, by Long Island. I think that a lot of your songs you have references, and the Long Island audience, obviously we travel down Sunrise Highway, we hit up Montauk. So do you guys feel inspired by living in this community?
Hell yeah. Yeah. I think that's the crux of what we are, is this little melting pot of all of our experiences living south of
South
over
Shore
here.
scumbags.
Yeah. It's that filth that washed in from the harbor, at Rockaway Beach, that you get out of the water and you have to go use the shower afterwards.
You're gonna need like 3 showers.
Lookout Inlet.
So on that note, right? Because I've noticed, at least in my lifetime, people give Long Island a lot of slack, people hate on it. I went to school upstate, right? So there's that expression, flid. I don't know if you guys heard that, right?
No, what is that?
What the fuck is
so it's, I don't know, you probably have to bleep this, but it's fucking Long Island douchebag.
We are that.
You know, I am too, man. I am a flid.
I
But
could not
like,
consider myself a flid. I'm sorry.
I think we should change the name of the band to Bunktown Falls.
that I'd be down for that.
Flintstones.
I want to just.
Flintstoners.
That's the name of the Flintstones. Wow.
But so like, you know, so I don't know. I've noticed. Have you guys noticed that like people tend to be like kind of hard on Long Island? Like people kind of hate on Long Island, except for like, and I feel like the most pride is actually in the South Shore.
Yeah.
Everyone hates Long Island, including Long Island.
A lot.
Like
That's the
we
thing.
even hate like between each other. Like I saw something on media the other day. I grew up in Merrick, and there was this whole thing where they're like, we're doing a review on Merrick. It's the only town in all of Long Island that looks down on Massapequa.
Right.
And I was like, all right, yeah, that's
That
pretty
Long
much
Island
that's
wise
how I
guy,
grew up.
I mean, now it's pretty easy to look down on Massapequa, and now that, like, you know, it's like a famous like murder location and stuff. So, like,
yeah. They have two of the most famous murderers in Long Island out of there.
yeah, we want to achieve that level of Long Island fame. Like if we can get like
on that level.
Rebrand yourself as a Gonzo Beach Rock.
I think
Actually,
I think Long Island like
get that
had
algorithm working.
a huge influence on the way we write our music. It's listed in our songs, and obviously, but even beyond that, like our growth as a band came from other Long Island bands in the beginning, like Oogie Wawa letting us come on to their shows and playing with them, and sharing our posts and stuff like that, and
big
playing
shout out
with
to the
the
boys
Big
in Oogie.
Happy and playing with Aqua Cherry and I Respect and all these other bands. Like we've been working together to grow this Long Island douchebag scene, and it's been good. Like
Years ago,
we're seeing success.
when I first started with Bunktown Falls years ago, when we were doing, a lot of shows with like a lot of bands you just mentioned, some bands that aren't around anymore, some bands that still are kicking, we used to always kick around this motto that it's not a competition. None of this is a competition.
Oogie Wawa was the head of it and was above that group. And then I think these bands that were in that group together, pulling each other up, all reached a point now where we are competing with each other in a friendly way. And we're ready to start branching outward and pulling other people up in groups. I think that's what we've reached to. And
That's it. We've always done that. Is, if somebody is progressing a little further, it's like, don't forget your homies. I think Bunktown Falls wouldn't be the band that we are today if it wasn't for the friends that we had early on going like, yeah, let's get you in here, play with these people, meet this guy, meet that person, get your foot in the door.
That's how it goes.
And, we've gotten to do the same for other bands now down the line. Long Island's music scene is seriously self-sustained, self-built, and self-grown. And the only way you keep that going is cultivating it, bringing in the next crop of people to, open for your show, and then they'll, before you know it, they're going to be working headlines with you, and you're going to have another crop of people opening for their show, and hopefully that just goes on forever until Long Island can't contain it anymore and we go over the bridge,
Or it sinks underwater.
shout out to Over the Bridge.
Notoriously, Long Island has been, for the music scene, a very competitive environment, and people compete on, who has the bigger following, who can bring. But I think it's better to create competition around who's the most creative. And so you guys, I see you're totally doing that. You're stretching the boundaries. Not only is your act performance as far as your music and your stage presence and your vibe, but you add visual aspect to that. What do you think sets your band differently than, what's out there as far as creativity?
I'll say first, like, what's the same, like what you see at a lot of these shows with a lot of the bands that Carl named are doing, these visual and immersive shows. You have a lot of the same people behind some of those. You got to give credit out to like Joe Rubino, Kai Bergson, a lot of people that are like behind the scenes working for basically every one of these bands, making the sound right, making the lights right. Everyone's going to have their own unique sauce of stuff that they do on top of that, but there really are like so many people behind the scenes, and you'll see with all these bands, the same kind of people working with them, because it's a product that's proven at this point when certain people come together. So the teamwork really is a big part of it. And then as far as setting yourself apart, that's all going to come from like the songs you're writing and the places you're pulling inspiration from. And obviously, like, we're not listening to the same stuff that people that we're like playing alongside are listening to. I'm going to pull in something from like a metal record that I'm listening to and say, hey, there's like a concept here that like maybe applies to what we're doing if we do it differently. Or like I'm listening to something from like the 20s, the 50s. You know, I'm reaching to like all sorts of eras of music to just say, oh, you know what, they did this here, and like people don't usually do that in the music that we're playing. Maybe we should try it out. And I think a lot of it comes from there on my end as far as like the songwriting and stuff is concerned.
So I got like 2 questions for you, all right? Because those are really great points. So my first one is, like, in your eyes, obviously you've expressed the value of like the behind the scenes people, the sound people, the lighting people. How important and critical is that to a band that is growing, that is trying to put on a good performance? You know, I know that you guys, you know, definitely have that experience. I've had that experience. Chase had that experience. Alex has had that experience. But like in your own words, like for everybody else that's listening, like, can you express, I guess, like the importance in your own words? And then the second one, and this is for a little after, what, like each one of you guys, what is the most obscure place in like, I guess, music or concept wise that you guys have like pulled a concept from, or like what you would consider like obscure?
All right. So the first note, I'd say like coming up as an early band, as a late band, nothing's more important than the people you surround yourself with, the team that you have working for you. There's just nothing more important than like the effort that goes into the product, and the more people you have that care, the better it is. Obviously that can be like expensive for a group depending on what their means are. It can be hard to put the team together or find the people, but the more people you have on your team that are knowledgeable and know what they're doing, the further it's going to carry you, because, you know, more hands, less work.
There's so many people that like believe in your band and want to support it, and they might not have the skills of doing lights or anything like that, but that they could jump in on merch. Like, shout out to Jen, who runs our merch table and Aqua Cherry's merch table, you know, often with no return, knowing that her work is going to lead to her being taken care of when we succeed. And we had to do that when we were starting and playing shows, opening for bands and not getting paid out a lot. And like, we knew it would lead to something eventually. And it takes a little bit of togetherness and group charity to get that started, especially in bands that aren't getting fully paid out yet. But we've been lucky enough to grow that and start building out light schemes for ourselves, for our shows, and investing in the way we sound live. And that all comes with, you know, sound engineers and light operators and things like that. And you know, we're finally reaching the point where these guys are getting paid now for the work that they've been doing. And it feels good to pay someone out after a show that's doing that. But in the very beginning, it takes like trust and effort, and everyone's growing together. That light guy's getting experience, you're getting experience with lights, which will just automatically draw more people in. It's how it all starts.
And like at the end of the day, you know, without the team and the community around us, we're just 4 dudes like screaming into microphones, you know. It's like, you know,
makes life easier for everybody.
How big would you say your team is, you know, including the band and then the outside members?
I'd say we have 10 people regularly working on Bunktown stuff. You know, we've got the band. There's really, when you break it down, there's 2 more of us that play a good majority of our shows with us. We have Mike Rex, we have Will Nannery, who
are 4 core members. We've got trombone, percussion leaders. We've got like 2 sub-trombone players. We've got a merch girl.
Grows and grows.
Lights, sound.
Sound. We're at 12 now.
It's a family. Like, I don't even think about it like it's as a team. It's like a family. Like, you know, you always have a cousin or a brother or a sister or somebody that you can, you know, reach out to that's going to be able to fill in that spot, and, you know, that want to. You know, that's the coolest part, is really that people want to do it. You know, it's like, I want to do this because this is my little pet project that like means a lot to me. You know, I don't expect it to mean anything to anybody else, but then when somebody comes up to me and it's like, hey, I want to do this for you. Like, I want to volunteer and like help you do some lights or like help your audio sound.
Yeah, big shout out to Bruce Faulkner too on the video.
Big shout out to Bruce.
I think we owe lots of Bruce and the light that he's shown us in. I mean,
he won a big award recently for some of the editing he did on a video too.
No, Bruce is great.
Congratulations,
a Kane
Bruce.
Award, CANNES or something.
Oh, wow.
But to your
really
question about obscurity,
yes,
obscurity. I think easiest, most obscure, random ass inspiration we ever came up with, I'm gonna say Dio.
Dio?
Dio, yeah, we have a song called Dio. If you haven't heard it, check it out on Spotify. It's hard to say. A reggae song about Rodney James Dio and whether or not he would go to heaven or hell.
Okay.
You know, in hell, because like, you know, he's a good guy. I think he would, you know, he wouldn't go to hell on any bad reasons. So he would go to heaven, And then he'd be like, this place sucks. It's really boring. Like, I can't drink here. I can't, like, play loud music. So, you know, he'd probably get an apartment in hell and sublease it from him. And then, you know, the song began to imitate life as, at the time, we were getting evicted from our home. Me and some former band members were getting evicted from the home. And we were like, well, what would happen if Rodney James Dio got evicted from that apartment in hell? And that's basically the whole story at that point.
That sounds amazing. I need to now listen to this.
If that doesn't,
I'm a big fan of Dio.
if that doesn't show you to like evicted from home to like LLCing and being financially stable, like that's growth right there.
It's hard to say. It's ironic too, because I mean, we don't listen to any of these bands ironically. Like when I'm pulling from Dio, it's because I'm listening to Dio, or if I'm pulling from like Fats Waller, it's because I'm listening to Fats Waller that day. And it's like, it's not like I put it on to be like, oh, let me listen to some old crap and whatever. It's just, it's what we're listening to. It's where it comes from. So obscure is hard to say when you're listening to some of this stuff like completely unironically, where other people are looking at you like, what are you listening to over there, you know?
Hey, listen, I'm a big Dio fan. I love the concept of Dio for plethora of reasons, some of them being mostly nerdy, you know, because of like anime crap. We're not gonna talk about that. My gym motivation, so to speak. But no, that's really amazing. I think like, you know, like knowing that you guys like have a sense of like you can just take something that you guys are listening to, you know, like one creative to another. I think it's just so awesome that you could literally take inspiration from something as like obscure or as different or unique as Dio. Because like, if you were to tell me, yeah, we took inspiration, you know, from Dio for your guys's, you know, Gonzo Beach Ring-a-Ding surf band, I'd be like, what the fuck? I need to listen to this.
Bunktown Falls, now featuring John Bonham.
There you go.
Gonzo Beach Rock.
I'm out, guys.
Gonzo Beach.
What about cannabis? You guys are obviously, there's some inspiration. So
You got some?
Yeah.
what is it about cannabis and music that just go together like wine and cheese?
I think kind of a lot of it.
I'll answer this question by asking you another question. Have you ever looked at the back of a dollar bill?
Yes. Okay. Okay.
Have you ever looked at the back of a dollar bill on weed?
Yes, I have.
Yes.
Yeah, the answer is yes.
Shout out to John Stewart.
Yeah, that's like a thermometer of the age of the room, and I think I just proved myself as too old, maybe.
Yeah, you're out of the podcast.
No, that was half baked. Come on. I know I look like I'm 12, but I'm actually 35.
All right, so you're right there with us.
Yeah.
I think the youngest one here is probably me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
How old are you?
I'm only like 25, man.
I'm 23.
Wow.
Little baby.
23.
Yeah.
He's a baby now.
I'm the baby. I think
Baby Joe.
with that question on cannabis, especially with this band and a lot of the influences that come into it, it just kind of goes together, you know, like butter on toast, like Bunktown Falls and rolling blunts while cruising down the street, you know, like it kind of just goes hand in hand.
I think me and Mundo's friendship really formed in like a break, you know, like on a work break, smoking a lot of weed together, coming back into a store and just like being at the best of our abilities after that break, and we just so we're capable of when we're like relaxed and focused.
Yeah,
you know?
That's another thing. It's kind of brings you in. It
Brings people together.
Well, that
And
too, yeah,
That's
yeah.
literally what a band's job is to bring a bunch of people together and allow them to have fun in front of you, and like weed makes that easier for everybody, I think. Some people it makes them paranoid, but
What cannabis and music do together is it takes people away from the suffering in life, and you just focus on what's important, which is
It definitely
chilling.
It helps
Just like
you
music,
hyper
man. Just
zoom
like
in.
music should.
Just
You know,
Yeah.
music should take you away from all the chaos and stuff that you hear on the news networks and, you know, on social media and all that stuff. Like it's hard to tune that stuff out. The easiest way I found to tune that out is to go on Spotify and follow Bunktown Falls and crank it to 10. That's the best thing I found to do.
Yeah, Tom was right.
Yeah, Tom was right.
Well, with
And then,
that
yeah,
said,
listen to some podcasts.
I did get us some brownies, so we can bust that out. I know
Brownies with Bunktown Falls, huh?
these are sober brownies. If you guys want to partake, there's no nuts in it.
I mean, I could put nuts on them.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
If you guys would like, we'll have some no nut
You know what?
No,
brownies. No, these are non-edible. So
Wait, we can't.
Are you sure, man?
Gigantic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I already ate it. Am I gonna die?
Prop brownies.
Technically, anything is edible if you try hard enough.
Prop.
No.
See both? Cool.
So now I got a question to follow up on the weed topic, because that was an excellent question, Shay. But in your guys' writing process, how much fucking weed do you guys smoke?
I wanted to
More like in our smoking process, how many songs do we write? That's probably a better question.
I hate to say it, but that's about as accurate as I can answer that.
So how many? What's the most amount of songs you have written, I guess, in one of your siphs, during one of your sessions?
That we remembered?
I mean, that's a tough call because where we might come up with like 3 ideas during a session. One of those songs might sit on the shelf for 2 years. The other one gets finished the next day, and the third one's like a work in progress over a couple of weeks. So sometimes they come right together in that one session. Sometimes it's like 3 to 5 ideas coming out of one session. So I don't think our songs get necessarily written in a session, but
We're fortunate enough to practice in our own recording studio as well, so a lot of times, right? It's a good feeling.
Yeah.
DIY till you die, man.
Absolutely, agreed.
But then just when we're in the middle of a session, it's really easy to just walk into the room, hit Pro Tools. We got the session already set up. We're all plugged in. Take it home, run with that. And like Spence said, most of it is probably going to be little snippets that we're going to go home and play with.
Yeah, we might come up with something as a 4-piece group, and then 2 of us on like a random weekend will sit together and like move the song 10 pegs. We come back into practice, and the other 2 guys are just like, "Oh shit, what happened?"
Yeah, that's pretty much what happened with the one we're pretty much closest to done with right now. Is it started out as like a session or 2 in practice that we ended up sitting on for a bit, and then came back to it, and I think in the matter of a week or 2, we got pretty much close to done with it. And copious amounts of weed was smoked to help.
So then, like, as writers, what's the longest you've ever sat on a song?
We're still sitting on some of them.
Yeah.
The one that has been released to date. I should specify, because like I remember, like, for example, there are some moments where like writers will sit on songs for a while, and then it becomes like a really big song, or like a hit. So I guess like, out of like your more popular songs, which one of those like probably sat the longest?
I would say that's the Good, the Bad, and the Bunktown EP, where we started writing that before the pandemic, and then got like basically shut down in the middle of writing it. We were half recorded with it when a lot of this stuff started, and then by the end of it, we were like picking up pieces because so much had changed. Members had changed from the beginning of the recording process to the end of it. So we had to kind of scramble to get that one done. I think the frustration is evident in the way that record even sounds when you listen to it. But it was a task to get those. I think it's 5 songs and an intro track. But it was a task to get those out. It was a task to get those to you, and
Worth it though.
Yeah,
worth the struggle. It was
an uphill battle, so it took a lot longer than we would have liked to, just because of both economic and personal pressures that we were all kind of dealing with at the time.
So then, my last question for you guys, because as someone who has a band that recorded their music during COVID, it fucking sucked. We went into a studio, we had to go one by one, and then trying to get like the mixing and stuff like that, like through email. I feel like it kind of like really affected, the quality of the work. It's not to say the work is bad, but I feel like there could have been more that was fleshed out, with in-person studios. How do you think, comparatively to the other things that you've written, in the studio together and like mix and master together, like as a group, how do you think comparatively that differs from working on it during COVID versus not, working on it, when COVID wasn't around, I guess, or when the shutdown ended?
We had our own studio, so that's that was one thing that we didn't have to necessarily follow legal precautions. We're bending some rules in that regard. And we took our time. We checked ourselves out, and once we were like, yeah, nobody's got it. Like, we're gonna roll the dice. Let's get in the room. Let's practice. Get things done.
But again, I think compositionally, I think those are great songs. We still play. I think all of them in our set lists.
Killer EP, in my opinion. I dug that one a lot. Yeah.
One of which we actually played today.
Yeah. I think out of our release music, if not our best song, one of our best songs came out with that one in Try Harder.
Definitely a crowd pleaser.
Yeah, I think people really took to that track. I think Empire State again is one that really.
That was one that really came out towards the end of the recording too, and like I think that was after all the frustrations, going through a lot of the other tracking and just getting everybody's schedules together and making it work, getting that one out I think, at least for myself, felt like it was a swan song kind of thing, where like there was we got Will and Rob and Ben Pinola in playing horn section on that. It really just filled this full sound. We got great harmonies built into that one. It's one of the first times I think we really just dove into the studio and took full advantage of what we can do there without having to, parlay it back to an engineer and hope that they send it back the way we wanted it to. And then, personally, I think in Way She Goes and the things we haven't released yet, I'm hearing so much growth and so much more dynamics to it. We're more people that want, like Carl was saying, more people that want to be involved with the band, that want to get their hands wet and contribute to it. And then what was originally going to just be the four of us recording something is like, oh, there's actually 8 people on this track, and there's this background. Everything came together.
Way She Goes, we have about we have about 10 friends doing vocals for that middle section of Way She Goes. There's people that are not singers on that record. There's just people that were hanging out in the studio the day we decided to do it. That were like, yeah, anyone who can sing and anyone who can't sing, get in there.
So you guys record everything yourselves right now?
Yes.
I think almost forever. There was.
And mix and mastered too. Who does the mix and master?
We're lucky to have Mundo and Spencer both as audio engineers.
Oh wow!
Did you guys get proper education and stuff?
Yeah.
Nice.
In 5 Towns, Nassau Community College, audio programs over there. At this point, it's cost so much damn money to get into a studio and to pay for that studio time, and just hope that the guy gets your vision. And it's nice to not have to go through that, but the flip side of the sword is audio fatigue.
Yeah.
Like you sit there. There are times that the studio is actually in my house too, so like we'll do an 8-hour session and then everybody's already like beat and like, all right, cool, we're gonna tap out. And I'm like, all right, guys, I'll see you later. And then there's still 4 more hours I'm sitting down there until I want to put my head through a wall.
Right.
So it's you kind of need that person to just cut you off at a certain point and to keep the process
the
going.
worst part about recording your own music is that it's your own music. And when you're recording someone else's music, it's really easy to just detach yourself and get tones. But when you're recording your music, the nitpicking gets real and it gets ugly.
Comes in again because we bounce it out to Kai and Rob and
Dave.
Yeah. And we send it out to them and they were like, what do you guys think of this? And sometimes they just flat out send us remixed vocals or remastered vocals and send it back to us, and 3 different versions of it, and we get to listen to it, and whether we use it or not or take it or not, it's just that's part of like
we have it
the
in
Long Island help
in our holster ready
too.
if we need to. Shout out to Dave Alini at the Sound Cellar.
Yeah.
Yes.
Rob Petrozak at West Industry.
Yep.
Kai Bergson floats between both of those. So really good team of people behind us.
What is the way that you guys settle creative differences? Like
Fisticuffs.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was just gonna say punching each other.
They're not
whoever, and who's got like the hardest hit? Would you say out of you guys?
I'd say me.
You're gonna start a fight.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna stick with my best man, right?
Yeah.
I'd say
Sometimes
me.
we just draw a big circle in the sand. That's been a actual mediating process before.
Whoever pushes the other person outside of the circle is correct. And
Pokey, pushy.
That's the end of it.
Yeah. Punchy.
Yeah, most of the time when you get into arguments like that, it's like short-lived. Someone's in a mood, and you just gotta like separate and come back together a few days later, smoke a peace joint, come back together and talk about what you're arguing about, because it's never such a big deal. There's so many worse things we could do to each other that would disrupt it. A creative difference is nothing.
I'll just go out and say, I think out of the 4 of us, the 2 that love to butt heads with each other the most is me and my man right over here.
Oh yeah, that's why you guys are sitting on opposite sides.
also the
huh?
2 longest tenured members of the band as well.
There was even a point when Joe joined the band, I was like, hey, just by the way, in the group chat, just know me and Spencer are like brothers, and like this is how it's gonna happen. We're gonna scream and yell at each other, and then we're gonna walk into the room and be like, hey, what's up, douchebag? You ready to roll? And like we just laugh and have a great time,
I feel like everybody in a band has like that one person that they can relate to in that way, where they have like that connection, especially when you have like a tenure like that. Pretty sure Shay has one, Alex has one. I know I have one. It was nice to see that like this is not just like a singular band thing; it's like a common trend.
No,
I mean, you wouldn't be arguing if you didn't give a shit. That's like the like central point is like we all care so much that we're willing to scream at each other about nothing over how much we care so much. And then like by the end of the day, it's like, wow, we just scorched each other pretty bad. Like
And that's
I think we
something
have our answer.
You can, that's
We got a pretty
like,
sick song out of it.
Those attitudes that happen, they could be inspired into songs, but it's like not something that you forward face. You don't like show that off. Like it doesn't help your band grow.
No.
You do that in house. You do that in your band chat, and then when it's showtime, you come together and you love each other again. And you don't have you should never have to fake love each other when you're playing together. You should actually just enjoy each other's company and play together. Like I don't feel like even when I've been pissed off at Spencer or Mundo or Joe, I've never ever taken it out on stage, and it snaps right back to that why are we doing this? It's so they can have fun, so we need to have fun, and I love having fun with you guys. It becomes natural and easy.
And they won't have fun unless they see us up here having fun.
You're the conductor.
That's exactly,
It's an energy.
That's the big thing.
The vibe, right, Shay?
Yeah.
Well, that's the whole thing about music festivals, is the idea of bringing people together for one singular vision, one singular goal. And when you bring them together, we feel each other's energy, and we harness that energy and put that out into the world. Because in regular day-to-day, you think you're the only one who feels a certain way, but then when you come to a concert, music festival, you see so many people who, smoke cannabis and agree with you on, what good music is, and you want to share with them, hey, here, take a puff of the blunt with me, or whatever. That's something that you can only experience by coming together, right?
And bringing people together as well.
That's a band. When people come together or meet each other for the first time, one of the first things they do are like, what are you interested in? They try to find something that you similarly agree with. And the benefit of going to a festival is I like this band and you like this band, so we already have something to talk about, and it breaks down boundaries and makes everyone feel more comfortable. Yeah. Music festivals are awesome.
Oh, hey, bud. Speaking of festivals and festival buddies.
I'm going to give my mic to David.
So I wanted to ask you guys about Froggy Days. How many years have you guys been playing Froggy Days?
God.
You expect me to even remember that I played Froggy Days? Let alone how many I've played.
Probably like 4 or 5, something like that.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I think my earliest shirt that I can find is 2019, but
I think we started just before the pandemic, and then they slowed down, and then they were back on pretty quick. So it's been a couple of years now we've been doing it.
Oh, they stopped for COVID?
I think they missed one
Well,
or two
yeah,
festies.
I think it was maybe the hotel or something we couldn't do. Although we did the hotel right before COVID. Yeah.
A long time
was fun.
is the answer to that question. We love that festival.
Yeah.
That feels like the kickoff to our show season. It happens really late in the spring, right before summer, where bars start opening up the outside sections and Bunktown really starts kicking ass by the beach.
Get our heads right for the rest of the rest of the year. Go swimming in the river, go fishing, which was a great time last time.
Stare at some stars, see some UFOs.
Yeah.
No, we were happy
And
to have your
Frog.
band there recently. That was super fun, dude.
We're happy to camp with you guys. That was so much fun. And that was going to be my other question is, what do you guys love about Froggy Days? What is it that makes it such a special experience?
That community. Holy crap, that community.
Dude, the first time I walked in there, they're like, welcome home. And I was like, welcome home. I was like, whoa.
I was like, this
okay.
is either a cult or the best festival I've ever been to. Here's the secret. It's both.
I got that. Now, are these rainbow people? Is it related to the rainbow gathering? I did a rainbow gathering in Costa Rica, man. That's exactly how I was greeted. I got there. This hippie lady gave me a screenshot on an Instagram, and I showed up, and there was this French woman. She's topless. She gave me a hug, and she goes, "Welcome home." And it was that vibe. You're just
It's very much so that vibe. I'm new to it, as I'm new to the band still, kind of.
Been in for a year, right?
Almost a year,
baby.
Almost a year.
It's coming
up.
I think I've been in the band for about a year, but my first official gig 1 year later will be February 17th at Small Craft Brewery, as we mentioned before, where I played my first gig with the band exactly 1 year prior. So, yes,
That was 1 year, and the bartender there, Milk's birthday.
big double celebration.
Ooh, it's
night.
really coming
But
full circle.
Froggy Days for me has been I've only played 2, last May and then September we went back. But
the hospital.
I haven't the hospital show.
hospital,
That
the
sounds
hotel.
like another whole
Yeah.
thing. But no, there's a
Basically
whole
the
other side of
hospital.
it I haven't really seen yet. But from what I have seen and just these 2 experiences, 2 weekends being there, it is one of the most craziest life-changing events that I live for, that I can't wait for it and can't wait for us to get back to, because just like, we said before, it really does feel like home.
Dude, everyone gets dressed up in costumes, like it was Back to the Future themed. We had a circus theme. Everyone's dressed up and just like wilding out. There's like fun things to do being sold at tables everywhere. You can imagine what I'm talking about.
I mean, if you make it down there, you're going to get a brew of Bunktown show that you really are not going to get anywhere else. What we do there is unique. It's special for them because they are good friends of ours, and what they do up there is special. So we do something. You're just not going to see us in that form anywhere else. It's a special performance for us. We hold it special, and we definitely turn it to a different and stranger degree when we're up there. And
must be us.
My favorite was the circus one. I had whiskey water guns. We had our friend dressed up as like a stick figure monster holding a piñata, and we threw a bat to break the piñata with into stage. Like,
oh wow,
that was, I think, my favorite one, dude. And that's just like the level of fun.
You executed
crazy.
Me that one time with a tequila gun.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That was that same time.
I messed up a guitar solo like bad, and I just played into it, and I was like, I gave up, and Carl came up to me with this water gun he had full of tequila, and I was like, "That's it, I beg forgiveness." Puts me down.
That was funny. And then I think I knocked down your mic stand or something too. Yeah.
It sounds like Bunktown thrives in the Froggy Days environment the same way that, like, Bunktown in Froggy Days is like a jaguar in like the jungle. Like that's like where you guys belong. Right?
Yeah, I mean, we went there the first year, and I don't.
That's what you guys are. Yeah, you guys are jaguar.
I think the first time we did it, they didn't get us, and we didn't get them, and since then it's kind of been a process of like push, like to see what they wanted and like what we could give them, and
also what we can sneak in.
Right. Besides, at this point, we are like the standard Saturday late night like set for all the mutants that are really looking to party, and by the time we're playing Saturday night, we've had a lot of time to be mutants, and it's just like it's a different set than you're going to see anywhere else, and you're going to not see us in that form on stage really anywhere else, in the costumes, the energy.
Yes.
Get to Froggy Days to see Bunktown. Now let me ask you this, man. Is it, because that vibe sounds awesome, right? Is it, in your opinion, cultivatable in Long Island? Can we bring that spirit here?
The cops will never let you do that down here, period. Like you can't, like the attitude, yes. The environment, like you just.
Can we get those looks up from like upstate New York? Like bring them down here.
I think you could attract. I think you could attract the Froggy Days people to the show. I think it'd be difficult to find a place to camp out the whole weekend. So if you could somehow like work a hotel deal into it or something, and have all the Wooks go to a hotel and then come back the next day for the show, and give transportation. Like,
here's the thing, though, is
I
you don't need
Long
to give
Island's
a Wook a
willing to
comfortable
go that
place to
crazy.
sleep to come down to a show.
Right.
Yeah.
But a legal place is
You need to give them a place that they're not going to get arrested.
That's basically it, yeah.
And they probably will, right? And then they won't come back to Long Island.
Yeah, they'll be like, screw those Bunktown guys, man. They got me arrested again, and it wasn't even at Froggy Days this time.
But you know what, though? You know what? The thing about Froggy Days, I think, really like stood out to me from day one. Every time I've been there, is it is a family. It's a community. You know, the bands. There's so many bands that we play with that are up there now. You know, it's the history I heard was Chris Rubin Band found this festival, and then Stu, who was playing, I think, in the band at the time with him, got involved with it, and then Aqua Cherry went up there, then Big Happy and Us came up, and then, then Dysfunctone comes up, and now before you know it, half the lineup is Long Island.
Wow.
But the people, there was a crowd up there that was like these people that just loved to go up there, that were all, festival heads that knew each other from different groups. They were up there just putting something fun, just doing something for fun, and I'm not even thinking about the music group. I'm just thinking about the people, just the people that go up there, and that is something that we have down here. There's a community of those kind of people down here. There's all these people that want to do exactly that. They want to be part of a good time, and we just want to, like we said before, put all the bullshit behind us for a weekend and stare at the stars,
escape,
and stare at some music, and just light a fire and have a good time.
I think that's something to consider too. Like, Listen Up Long Island could take a group of Long Island bands and go to somewhere where you could have a festival like that, and people would go. Like, Long Island people are
craving it.
craving it.
Yeah.
They want the escape. They want to go somewhere with a little less red tape, and they want to hear their local bands up there too, and like somewhere where they could really kick loose. I think it's a good idea.
There are many great opportunities on Long Island. Don't get me wrong.
Of course, dude. Like the show at Stereo Garden's gonna pop off. You guys have a sick lineup for that one.
March 8th. Get your ticket. It's probably available by the time this drops.
That's the energy I feel coming from you guys right now. Coming from the show is, there's a group of people that want to do this, that have a passion for it. I think that's the biggest mistake that promoters and festival people have, is that first year or two is fun. It was a little crazy that first year, and then that second year was, oh wow, we did so good. We fixed the problems we had in the first year. But then year 3, 4, or 5, if you don't keep that energy up, it's gone. Yeah. It's gone like
and it
that.
It dissipates pretty quickly too. Falls out.
It's very, very easy for like what starts out as a major festival to fall into being just another local show by using the same bands and recycling lineups. It's just we've seen it over and over again where it's just like, well, I guess this festival's the same people it was last year. I guess that festival's the same people it was last year, and it
gets stale, right?
Exactly. If Bonnaroo couldn't exist, it says a lot. You have to put a lot of effort into keeping it fresh and keeping it going. There was a time where Bonnaroo was the thing that you heard from a friend of yours. It was like, what's this concert? Well, Fish was playing there, and all these other bands were playing at this thing. By the mid 2000s, 2010s, it was online with Coachella. And the bands that were coming on there, it was like, oh, it's the same shit. It's the same bands. We're camping out. We're getting dirty. We lost all the fun. The spark was gone. They let it get to that point. So I think if there was one thing that, for some reason, they do right, or I'm gonna throw a bone to Froggy Days too. But at the festivals that do it right, they just keep it fun. You come back every year, and I'm here to see these bands. I'm here to see my friends.
And Froggy Days does the 5
top of
senses
that.
thing. That's what stood out to me, I think, when you guys were first talking about this festival on the Zoom chat we had, was like the second you walk in there, all 5 of your senses should just be slapped in the face. And like Froggy Days excels at that. You're in nature, so you've got like fresh air, you're breathing clear. You've got water for feel. You've got frogs chirping for noise. And then at night, when it goes dark, they bring in trucks and fog up the whole campground and shoot laser beams through the campground. And like,
That's crazy.
Yeah, you're literally
take some notes
stimulus, like heaven. Like
it's beautiful.
Like
it's absolutely gorgeous.
I think that's one of the best things for Bunktown when we're getting paid more for our shows now is we invested in like the way we look on stage with lights, and we're investing in the way we sound with in-ears and little things like that just to make our live performance more valuable and more of an escape for people when you hit all those senses. And I think you guys have a really good shot of nailing that down with the amusement park idea. Like the idea that it's like you're just supposed to come here and have fun and like let loose and let go.
And like you're saying, all your senses are being brought to the table.
Give them games, give them competition, give them lights right when they walk in, it's bright when they get in there. Like
more than just a regular show.
Yeah.
We're going to try to not make it or let it get stale because, we have a larger mission. And what we're trying to do is really just bring up the entirety of the scene of music in Long Island, right? So we're not just like one festival, but the festivals are something that we want to keep alive. And this is something that Shay and I have discussed is we want to, right now have like a big jam band festival, right? And then we have a night that we're working on for, where we want to switch the genre and do like a metal kind of thing, right? And then we want to have something where it's more like alt rock and, and at some point we'll do like a variety show. But overall, what we're trying to do is really put Long Island on the map in terms of music and like really bring to the forefront like all the different variety of music that we have here. And so what I'd like to know from you guys is how do we take the Long Island music scene right now and make it better, right? Like whatever it is now, we just want to make it better. So what do you guys see as like opportunities for growth around the Long Island music scene?
I think you guys are starting already really good by getting Stereo Garden, like getting us venues that aren't just cover bands that are playing music from places outside of Long Island, like getting a Stereo Garden and having 5 original acts come in there and throwing a kick-ass festival, like that is a big step forward. And you know, when you have your metal show, just invest the same thought to it, where you're getting all five senses slammed right at the door at this amusement themed festival. Same with metal, but with skulls and scary things. The second they walk in, they should be like, I'm home or I'm scared. Like, one of those two feelings should be what you feel when you walk in there.
Why not?
And then send the welcome homes. Like, I think that getting the bigger gigs and figuring out how to make it so valuable that artists want to keep doing it. And like, this was profitable for us as a band. We were able to kick money to our friends. They want to do it again next time.
Right.
Next time we have more people that are signing on because they know the other guys did well. Like, that kind of extra money and bigger venues and blowing up the creative scene, not just the cover scene, will bring Long Island clout here and around.
It's all about the original bands, the original
That's what
acts.
we're trying to showcase.
There's a big variety of Long Island of different acts and different genres. Like, you know, Long Island is already kind of known for their punkier, hardcore metal scene.
Back Sunday Brand New.
Yeah, lots of big bands that have gone up and made names for themselves and do kind of like what we said before, where like we're trying to use whatever power we have to bring the next guy up as well, which is a big thing that you guys have as an aim and a goal for you guys to do here.
When I was in high school, I'm gonna date myself a little bit. Bands like Brand New and Taking Back Sunday were Movie Life, and all of them were literally cutting their teeth. They were playing the downtown to 20, 50 people. I went to the last local Taking Back Sunday show at the downtown with like 70 other people. It was ridiculous. And but the thing that made them successful and made all those bands successful at the time was that they were boosting each other up. Like, even the bullshit between Jesse and Adam, that famous fight between the two lead singers, all that did was make everybody in Long Island talk about them.
They wanted to proudly wear the shirt of the band they sided with. Like,
but
it really blew it up.
Right. They were still signing shows together. They were still playing these things. Everyone there was a community of everyone blowing each other up.
So what we need is more band feuds.
Yeah.
Is that what we need?
So Big Happy, we're calling you the fuck out.
Who's gonna go pick a band and like talk some shit? All right, we gotta get some views.
That's a great idea.
Talk about the five senses. Talk about the
Joe
different...
Paquette, I'm coming for you, string bean.
The different dude. Like, you can have bands hating each other and fighting so passionately that it actually grows the whole scene together. Like, it's passion, whatever it is, and
that's it.
It's full on going. It can't be fake. Like,
it's community work too, though. It's word of mouth. It's people saying like, "Oh, this band Bunktown Falls is sick, but do you know Aqua Cherry?" Like, other things like that. Like things like that.
Like, what I would love to see is the people who don't usually go to shows, or the people that'll go, like the Inn, right? Like, they always, sometimes they'll bring in like I Respect, and there'll be originals, but for the most part, every Friday they've got a cover band, and like they're sick, and I like, at least it's better than just having like a DJ spin a track. But like, how do we get that same kind of energy where people will either just go out and see a DJ or go out and see like a cover band? How do we attract that and suck that into like the original music and like fan that flame? Like, aren't people tired yet of like hearing the same 20, 30 songs?
That's all just grassroots work, man. That's literally like putting the effort into your product to make people want to see it. It's something we've been working on for years, to the point where like, we can like show up to like, one of the West End bars, Minnesota's, whatever, on a Friday night, and we can bring in people that want to hear us play our original music. It's really just grassroots and like owning your product and making sure that it's something that's presentable to people in a way that they want to see it. And once they see it, they catch on. You play the cover song that they like, and then the next song's an original, and they're like, oh, what was that song you played after this? And like, it's a process like that, but it's about having something that you can present to people that looks like something they'd expect to see. These are people that are used to seeing, multi-$1,000 productions on huge stages. When they come to a bar and see a band playing originals on a stage with, a meager setup, it just doesn't click with them the same, because they're used to the production.
Pay them so much less when you hear the product and see the product. Like, these cover bands are getting $8,000 a gig for a 3-hour set. Like, that's more than enough money for any band to immediately get in-ears, new PAs, lights, and pay guys to operate it all in one gig. And then the next gig you start to profit. So one of the tricks is getting that stuff ahead of time. So when you book the gig and you're like, I want $1,200 for this gig, for an original band that's pretty good for 3 hours to start. Like, you already have the lights and you already brought a show that they just paid $8,000 for, and they're like, why are we paying this band $8,000 when these guys brought half the people at 10% of the price? And you
Interesting.
you
Make
sure
it make sense financially.
Yeah, it's important.
Yeah.
It's like marketing comes into it too, you know, not only with your music, not only with your merch, but how you can figure out how to make this bar the most amount of money in one night and still have fun doing it and make it worth their while, make it worth your while.
You win the bartenders over, you get them a bunch of good tips, and they're talking to the owners about when the next time that band's coming back.
And the presentation goes a long way. I mean, like, we've put down plenty of gigs, and like, hopefully no bars are watching this, but like, we put down plenty of gigs. We're like, yeah, we're going to do cover sets. We're going to play, 3 hours of music everyone knows. And like, we're going to play an hour and a half of Bunktown music minimum. We're going to play 2 hours of Bunktown music. Like, and people are going to like it because like, when we're hitting the right covers and like, like that small percentage of covers we do hit, if you're picking the right songs and presenting them, people, like, run to the front because like, they just heard a song they can sing along to. And that's when you hit them with another one of your songs that like, hits a vibe to get them dancing or something. And it's really just present your product however it needs to be presented, and then let it speak for itself when you're doing it.
Set listing is important. Like, if you go up there and you don't have like a plan and everyone's looking at each other to talk about the next song, like, everyone in the audience loses that escape mode that they were in and is like waiting for you guys to do the next thing, and they start talking about something else.
Downtime between songs.
Yeah. What do you want to play next? You
gotta just
when
be
you put an hour of time in individually and then send a set list to the band, and they're like, how do you think this Sum 41 cover song flows into our original song? And someone's like, no, it's the wrong key. Let's switch it to this song, and it's the same vibe, and it goes into it. Like,
people don't put enough thought into actual set listing. That's something important. I know. I hate that I'm gonna sound so pretentious in saying this, but I'll listen to people's set lists and it's like, that didn't flow into that good. That clashed against that. One thing we've done in this last year especially is really just like focused in on how does A get to B, get to C.
The flow.
Yeah, and where they're going to be hard stops,
it's a level of perfection.
This isn't C sharp, I can't mix this to anything else, so like, let's take a break right after C sharp.
Because you want them along for the ride, right?
Yeah. We feel like we're
song to song,
we feel like we're catching the best flow when, I mean, it should never stop. If he has something to say, we can fit it into an intro of a song. Like, we don't need to stop and say, hey, we're Bunktown. Let's introduce all of our members. Like, I don't give a fuck if you know who I am. I just want you to shake your ass, dude. Like,
I always hate when people introduce every single song to, like, all right, so this song is called, whatever. Oh, and this song was by so-and-so and so-and-so. It's like, dude, just play the music.
Right. It's not a storyteller session. It's like a fucking dance party, and it should be.
It's like getting a recipe online, I just want to know how the fuck do I make the cookie. Like, you don't need to tell me about your trip to Tuscany.
Transition. It's a lot easier for them because they don't have to focus on writing the music and getting people to like it. People already like that music, and they just have to focus on making sure the show is good. So I think with original artists, like, once you have a good catalog of music, you got to start focusing on like what the people are seeing and hearing when you play, and how it works together to make them want to stay and make them want to come back.
Right. Showbiz at the end of the day. I've heard that before.
People will spend money on experiences, but they won't spend money just to support your band that wasn't that fun to listen to because you took too long of breaks in between.
Right.
3 guys chopping it up is not an experience, but 3 guys chopping it up can be made into an experience with the right level of like work. And again, like, you're putting something out there. Like, do you want to just like, oh, this is a song I wrote, here it is, or do you want it to be part of something
and have
bigger?
People ask you questions later? Was that new? What was that?
Or
song?
even like, was that an original song? Like, that's a big thing too about not, like you said, announcing every single song. Is like, you kind of want to leave people guessing. Like, was that a cover or was that original? Or like, let them go through, our Spotify, like you guys all should, and listen to every song and be like, was this the one I liked? Oh no, it wasn't it, but this one's pretty cool. Kind of give them the chance to go and explore on their own without being like, here's this song, go listen to it. But at the same time, like, when we drop new things, like Way She Goes.
Way She Goes coming out.
Yep, it's already out.
Oh yeah, it is out.
Music video.
Music video coming out.
Music video's already out too. See, that's what I mean.
But it's coming out too.
Big things that need to be like put out there. Like when we're about to play it or after we play it, we're like, by the way, we just dropped that one. But we don't have to do that for each and every
That's planned
song.
into the set too.
And if we're doing that, you better believe like there's something teed up right behind. Like,
Oh yeah,
2,
we're gonna
3
punch you in the
sentences,
face
we're
right after that.
That's what I was gonna ask. So you guys practice the space, like when there is gonna be space, and you get.
For our bigger shows, definitely, 100%.
Yeah, we kind of try to keep that as minimal as possible.
I might just make something up because something happened in the audience, and I'll call it out and like be like, "That was hysterical. Can you do that again?" There's something like that that's not planned, but like we have sections where Mundo's gonna whittle the intro to a song over and over again while I shout out the festival owners and like give thanks to our light crew and things like that. And then the second I'm done, there's a cue and we go into the song. Like there's
Yeah, and then some girls like, do John Mayer. So we do that, and then like the song we had teed up after maybe is like not the right choice, so we throw something else and like.
You flow a little. There's a little bit of
smaller
flow.
games when we have
Right.
a 3 hour.
You gotta play to the crowd, you know. There are definitely times where, you know, me and Spencer are like across the stage, like next song, like nope, just roll right onto that. You know, we're gonna skip that, move into here.
You gotta
like
read off the crowd.
They'll give me like the.
It's for them. You know?
Oh, so we're gonna do
If
Dio
you-
next.
If you pay attention to us, you'll catch us talking to each other. Like at the end of the song, be like, "Are we doing what we're supposed to do here?" Like,
Yeah, we all kind of give a little.
If you ever
know?
see me and Spencer really having a good time like this, we're
talking
usually
about
going like,
something.
"What the fuck is going on with the sound right now? This is
Did you
messed
see
up."
that girl fucking fall over the mic stand? Holy shit! Which did actually happen.
story.
Yes.
oh my god, that was rough.
Hope you're feeling better, buddy.
On video.
Tell us about that one.
Yeah, that was a fun one.
We were covering Mariah Carey for Christmas, and you know how Long Island middle-aged white women go crazy for Mariah Carey. So they were trying to steal the mic from me, and I originally was letting them sing, but then they were like pulling the wire, and I was like, "No, you guys are too much. I'm pulling this back." And they like reached for it onto stage, tripped over our PA, knocked down the mic stand. A second girl comes in to help and goes to like pick up the girl, knocks down
The speaker.
the speaker stand, and it's like falling on her. So I just catch the speaker stand, and
He's grazing over the point when this girl hits the ground. There's like a solid 5 seconds where we're like, she's not moving, and like me and Spence both kind of like looked at each other like, do we keep playing? Like,
Yeah, we like
just keep
started like walking over to her, and then she started getting up.
We're like,
But it
okay,
was,
yeah, keep playing. Yeah.
I always imagine that like if there was gonna be a riot at one of our shows, like we'd be hitting like the hardcore punk stuff and like oh shit got out of hand, we gotta play less punk, but it's actually Christmas songs. All I want for Christmas is you. Full blown riot, man. Like I would have never guessed.
Those teachers were wild.
wild.
Yeah, that was a fun one.
Nice. When was that?
Right before Christmas.
Yeah, Ugly Sweater Party at the post office.
Yes.
That's another place that you know good bands can get into and
Yeah,
put
they
on great
support.
shows. They support original acts.
Nice.
That's a big thing too about Long Island is like Long Island people kind of look out for each other in that sense of like you're from Long Island, I'm from Long Island too. Like we already have a cool connection that
You're
way.
a douchebag. I'm a douchebag.
Yeah, exactly. You know,
What's the acronym?
a flid, right?
Flid.
Dude, that's gonna stick with me forever.
We pop on
Oh,
You guys haven't
you're
heard
from
that?
Long
You guys
Island.
didn't go to
dude.
school upstate, no? No SUNY boys?
We're all flids. We don't know the
There it is. Yeah,
all
we're
are.
swimming in the water.
But
You
that's
can't
the
tell
cool
it's
thing
there.
that I feel like can be worked into this community of music too. Is like Long Island people know Long Island people. Like even if you're playing a game online and you just so happen to come across a person who's also from Long Island, like immediately start connecting with them right away. But if you're a musician on Long Island, I feel like that's a whole other thing that like you get into this bond and like you kind of look out for each other in that sense. Even if you're in, a metal band and a jam band or a funk band or whatever, like there's always that sense of like, let's bring each other up, let's help each other out.
I was playing video games the other night, and I'm screwing with this guy. Me and him were fighting, like yelling at each other, like. And then I looked at his tag; it was MTK. I was like, "Wait, you're from Montauk?" He's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm from Long Island too." And we were just best friends. From that point on. Exactly.
That's one of the good things about Froggy Days too. Is like all the Long Island bands camp together. There's like one little area that we were all like making a circle of, and like people from like not our circle are walking by and they're like, what is this going on? And we're like, oh, we're the Long Island bands that are at this festival. And it's like, boom, immediately, like, this is a fun place to be. Like, these Long Island bands know how to throw down. Like, it's cool. We really do have that, like...
that community type vibe,
It exists.
Especially with the bands
it's gotta
that
be lifted, but it
have
exists.
come up with us,
Right.
So.
You know what I think we need? That's what I believe. All right?
No more weed.
Well, besides that, I feel like Long Island needs a tsunami of artistic expression to just freaking
I got
wash
really
over
scared
us,
there
man.
for a second.
Not like the bad, but like of art. Like so, like what you were saying, like
Metaphoric one.
metaphorically speaking. Okay, so you mentioned that a cover band playing at the end will make like $8,000, right? So if an original band though comes in there, gets paid $1,200, they'll bring half the amount of people, but it'll still financially make sense, right? But if when we come together, like on March 8th, we have 5 different people who maybe would be able to book half of the inn, but when you put them all together, we book out Stereo Garden, and then all of a sudden, instead of the vibe being like half of a night that's like fully booked, all of a sudden it's like a fully fledged, booked wild night. And I feel like if we take that kind of momentum and then bring it with us to other areas, like if we can keep something like that up, you know, like you guys have created your own little wave, right? And I respect Sick Band, they've got their wave, and Chris Rubin Band, and I know you guys tend to play together a lot, but then there's like all these other musical waves that are doing their own things, these different bands, right? Like if we could all come together, we could just wash right over Long Island.
Constructive interference.
Definitely.
That's what I
Giant
think.
tsunami, yeah.
Definitely,
I
yeah.
hear what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it seems like a big part of what you guys are trying to start is.
We've done it before. We'll do it again. The more bands you have coming together, the more people you have coming together. That's really what it's all about. So
Yeah.
I think what you're saying. I mean, we've seen it happen before. We've seen the right bands come together to just put together the biggest and baddest events, and we've seen rooms that had this capacity get filled with that capacity because the right people came together. So it's really just repeating something that we already know works. So.
A couple years ago, we did one of our first shows like that where we just like, hey, we're going to take this venue, they expect this much, and we wound up working with a couple bands. I think it was us, a band, I don't know if Intona's still playing, but it was a band called Intona. Yeah, you remember that? Yeah. They were there, Don Huevo, and
Nice.
I'm going to name drop the very first performance of Vanalia, like back when she was Nirvana Gobardon. We gave her, the opening spot on that one. And I kind of went into this thing thinking like, we're gonna flop. Like, we didn't press hard enough. Like,
Promo.
Yeah, and I just felt, I think it was self-reflecting a little bit. Like, I felt like maybe I didn't press hard enough. That place was packed. It was end to end, and I was like, where did all these people come from? And it was the community. It was everybody just heard word of mouth. Oh, like, this band? Well, they're playing with songs. Oh, I love them. We should come over together,
What's up?
And it was a great success. I mean, just like you said, it's when you get these artists together who care about what they want to do enough, people see that and they want to go support it.
It's like 1 + 1 = 3.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Everyone
Synergy.
gets more out of it when you start collaborating together. It's
Big time. It becomes familiar, right? We use these words, nostalgia. People love covers because they know them. Once they know that we bring bands together, original bands, we do the right thing, then all the fans of that movement that we're trying to create, they're going to join us, just like you're talking about.
It's like a guarantee when Bunktown and Big Happy are playing a show together, we're going to pack out the place because our fans, even though there might be different groups and some Big Happy fans might not come to all of our shows, they still love us. And when they're together, nobody misses it because you get to see both of your favorite original bands in Long Island together in one place. And
Right.
it becomes 1 + 1 = 3 because we're getting fans that might not have been able to make our show but canceled everything because they know we're playing with Big Happy at the same time. You guys are doing the right thing.
Yeah, you got the right mindset.
Sick. Thank you, man.
Yeah.
You have Bunktown support.
Yep.
Sick. Yeah, and that
Got
means
the
the world.
support.
And we appreciate you guys coming out here and just riffing with us. I do want to know, do you guys have any just wild stories from just, you've been a band for a lot of years.
These guys probably have the most fans.
Yeah, can I hear some I don't know, like a war story or something? Not too long, but give us something. Give us something good.
I want to share my favorite Froggy Days story that I think I can legally share.
I was gonna say there's so many of these that I can't
Yeah.
I can't throw the people under the bus that are involved in them.
But
Give them fake names.
the Froggy Days also does this hotel festival. They take over this place in Kerhonkson, I think, for that one.
Oh, I know you're.
Yeah. So we get in there. The guys who run that festival, Green and Heather, they love us. When I first got on the festival, I remember them him saying to me, he's like, I like your music, but Heather's really the one that really likes your music. I just like to party with you guys.
He said he didn't like that. He's like, I don't like what you do. But
I was trying to take the high road, but yeah, he said I don't really get you guys. But by second year, he was like, I get you guys. But we were we did this hotel and we book in the hotel, and they were smart enough to put us on the top floor in the corner, you know, far away from everybody because they know we're gonna cause some kind of chaos. We had 2 rooms linked together, and it was a party for like the entire day. So finally we get everybody out of our hotel room, and we're like, Christ, I'm gonna go to sleep. Finally get a little like sleep before tomorrow. And then I just hear from the door, you hear, and we're like, shit, is it like the cops here? Like I thought the cops were gonna bang on the door. Door comes open. Green kicks open the door. He's like, yeah, finds a bottle of tequila on our table. He goes, nobody parties harder than me at the fucking festival. Chugs it down, slams it, and just leaves our room.
I mean, immediately after that, every Long Island band there entered into a Olympic style competition that was. I mean,
live streamed all over Instagram.
Yeah, we did like 4-legged crawl races. We did pool, and then as bands started showing up to the festival, we realized like other bands, like the scoring wasn't fair because bands missed the event. So we all sat around.
Also, we're calling our own fouls, so I mean, scoring's getting crazy.
This is everybody that's there from Long Island sitting around a pool table saying, you know what, fuck the points. Whoever gets to the roof first wins. And from that point on, it was a competition for anyone from any band, any representative to get to the roof. And this went on for about...
It was what, eight floor
I went straight to the front desk and was like, hey, can you get me on the roof somehow? Like if there's a janitor or something with the keys, all I need to do is get up there and take a picture and I'll win this big thing. And the guy was like, you're the 3rd person to come to me and ask this, and no, you're not going on the roof. Nobody's going on the roof.
Although the team effort between Spencer, Josie Fire from Aqua Cherry, myself, Joe Rubino, I think, was that the 4 of us?
Yeah, we really came together as representatives from a couple of bands. And we were like, you know what? If we win, everyone else loses. So we came real close to getting up there.
They decided to go down to find
first we were a pair of bolt cutters away from getting on the roof. Yeah. And then we decided to go down to go up, and we ended up, I'm pretty sure, in Silent Hill.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure Mundo's credited taking certain artifacts from certain nefarious rooms for like the start of COVID, because it was immediate. we fucked around in Silent Hill. We found out, and COVID was like weeks later.
Well, but then we came back. I came back. That we didn't play that festival. I wasn't
present for the second.
I went back up to go visit, and we came back, and me and Joe Rubino led a couple expeditions down into hell, and I think we reversed the curse though, pretty good. Yeah, we bounced back.
COVID was pretty much over after that, so
I haven't heard much about it since.
But that's a good example.
It had nothing to do with vaccines or social distancing. Everything to do with me going to that
band. We weren't even playing, and Mundo's like, I know how much fun this is. I'm going up there. Like that's how much fun it should be. That you want to go support your friend's band, even if you're not playing. Which is like the most fun, playing for other people.
I don't even know if they knew I was playing or not. But I come walking in, and Heather and Green are just like, here's your pass. Go have fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can make it on the roof eventually, or is it...
There was like a side roof photo that we thought was real. And
no. That didn't count. We're just cutting that. Yeah.
No, the alliance of Bunktown, Aqua Cherry, and Joe Rubino representing Big Happy at the time came very close, and we just there was a padlock. I think they put an extra padlock on the door because of how many people asked to try to get on the roof.
Well, that door was open. Remember, Josie came running up to us. He's like, I got the door. We ran down the hallway, and it was locked by the time we got there.
Yeah, there was a door up top.
Which would have meant we would have got locked on the roof, which would have been 1,000 times
hysterical.
more fun.
Yeah,
especially because it was February.
We named Justin Pierce the winner, and he's a fan, I think, first of the Big Happy Band, and became really close with us.
He's a fan of everyone.
And now he's just one of those...
He's the community fan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's the guy that's going to tell everyone about your gigs and bring other people down there.
But he did win the Olympics.
Very big guy.
He did win the Bunktown Olympics. Or the Long Island Olympics, I think we call it.
By himself. No band won, actually. Yeah. Justin won.
We gave it to a fan.
Why don't you guys all just shout out like a favorite Bunktown track to check out, and just like a real, like if you keep it brief, why it's your favorite track, and then we'll do an outro. So just for the people watching, if you guys are tired of your Spotify playlist, if you guys want to listen to some Fuego, if you guys want to spice up your life like you would spice up the kitchen with paprika, you're gonna listen to these tracks. All right. So why don't we go around and why don't we shout out a track by Bunktown?
I'm gonna say "Way She Goes." If you haven't listened to it, you need to listen to it now. If you've ever had a bad day go wrong, so wrong that everything just became right, you need to listen to that song. That's what the song is all about.
Check out the music video.
Check out the music video. It really sums that feeling up. The inspiration of that just came out of everything feeling like it was about to explode and collapse on it, and instead of letting that nuclear, fission happen and just blow up, fuck it, have a good time. Hey, just go with it.
All right, so Away She Goes.
I got Power and Sand. It's one of the first songs when I was actually learning the music to be a member of this band. It's one of the songs that really kind of reached out and grabbed me. It's kind of a slow movie, vibey song, but it kind of just has these little hits and punches in there that really kind of just wrap in the listener really well. That's what I felt with that one. So Power and Sand. That's my call.
Sand. Got it.
I'd say listen to Try Harder. You get the full band effect. All of our extra members, the horns, and it's a full song. It's about just trying harder. So I think everyone can relate to that.
Gym song, would you say it's a good one?
I love that one.
Good one to bump in the gym?
Hell yeah, dude.
All right, for
You're
you
gonna
gym
pump
rats.
mad iron if you're bumping that in the gym.
If you're trying to hit a PR, Try Harder.
Yep.
Available now.
Boom, what's yours?
Well, it was gonna be the three that were already said. So
You had to change each time.
I did. I every time someone said so, I was like, all right, then I'll pick this one, and then it went over. But I guess for now, I'm gonna pick a sleeper choice. I'm gonna say Miles to Go, because I think I think that track again is just like, it's good to groove to. It's got like a solid backbeat. You're gonna fucking have a chill day listening to that one. It's got my boy Kenny Truin on it. Shout out to the homie. Wanted to work with Kenny since high school. We made it happen on that record. So
Yeah, that's a rap song. Bunktown rap.
Miles to Go.
We got 2 rap songs out like that, kind of.
Sick.
Yeah.
A very versatile band we are.
You can see there's a lot of room. There's a lot of different ways. We're gonna link those songs down below, right? We could do that.
Somewhere over here.
Yeah, they're down here.
Around this area.
Right here.
Right in the,
You can just click over there. It'll bring you right to the songs.
Our OnlyFans link is up here.
OnlyFans, support them on
Our OnlyFan.
Venmo.
That's
all right,
just off
Bunktown
camera,
Falls
we swear
Venmo.
to
You guys
God
do
he's there.
Venmo in the thing.
Hell yeah, at Bunktown
Buy
Falls.
some merch link. Anyone have anything they want to say to the camera before we wrap it up? General message.
Shout out to Listen Up Long Island. You guys are doing a great thing. Bands, if you're from Long Island, you're an original band, get down here. Ask them to play your podcast. They're open to do it. They want you guys as part of the team. So let's all share what we have together and make 1 + 1 = 3.
And hey,
Smoke weed every day.
All right, that's all she wrote. Bunktown, shout out to you guys. Your music is sick. We're pumped to have you guys at one of our eventual events. We wish you guys were playing March 8th, but it's just the way she goes,
I'll
right?
be there hanging out.
But just so you guys know, this band's
I'll
so
be
sick.
in Costa Maya or something.
Yeah, this guy's gonna be traveling.
What a loser.
But, Listen Up Long Island. We're out here. We got a mission. We're a nonprofit. We're trying to get bands paid. We're trying to create the tsunami. Create the tsunami. Be a part of our tsunami and splash today. Listen Up Long Island. We're out. Thank you for tuning in. Peace.